Okay.
They dropped them out of an airplane out in the woods someplace, and they got lost. They find themselves around. They had to watch the Germans. That's the weather.
That's the 82nd.
Yeah.
82nd Airborne.
And he's sick in the 101st, too.
101st.
They were pretty good guys, huh?
Huh?
They were good at what they did?
Why?
The 80,
Second and 101st.
the 82nd and the 101st, they were good?
They were our people. They were airborne, yeah.
But they were talented. They were good soldiers. They were good fighters, right?
Yeah, but they were young kids. They were 33s. They were young kids. They were like me, 19. I got drafted. I was up in Grenoble, Belgium. 3 months later, lost the stupid leg, the hip. 19 years old.
That's amazing. From Belgium, from the Battle of the Bulge, after you're done fighting there, where did you go?
We just kept moving up to Germany. The Army, the U.S. Army's big motive was to get into Germany.
And you got to Germany?
Well, yeah, it was a month later, yeah.
Did you spend time in Berlin?
I didn't spend no time in Berlin, no. I drove through it. We whizzed through it. We kept going.
Where'd you keep going to?
So I was going through parts of Germany, Dortmund, and we ought to get to the coast, see what they had on the coast.
And what did they have on the coast?
Oh, they had tanks there. They restored all their armament and all the heavy stuff over there. And then when they needed it, they'd put it on a boat and ship it across someplace.
Did most of the buildings in Germany were destroyed?
Buildings?
Buildings, yeah.
Residential?
Yeah,
Oh, yeah. Well, the RAF was bombing in the daytime, and the Americans were bombing at night. 24 hours a day they were bombing that damn thing.
So where do people live? Where did Germans?
Well, they went into the air raid shelters. I spent a lot of time in the air raid shelter there.
Was air raid shelters pretty safe?
Well, they were tunnels. The Germans, French and Germans used made those tunnels for railroad cars. Residential cars going through that. The railroad cars went through that.
Wow.
And then they used it as air raid shelters.
Wow.
So they were big tunnels.
There were big tunnels.
They were big.
Big tunnels.
Yeah, we could run a 6x6 structure there, yeah.
So after that was over with, where'd you end up going to? When the fighting
Occupation.
When the fighting was over, where'd you go?
Occupation. Our unit was picked to go out and get the ramblers, the leftovers that are hiding in people's houses. Some of them get home there. They started families there.
After the war was over, there was still a lot of Nazis that still wanted to fight?
Oh, yeah.
So how'd you handle that?
Huh?
How was that handled, if they wanted to fight still?
Well, I don't think not so much as in Japan. The Japanese, they fight to the end. But you find a German family, and they usually got, if they were occupied as a prisoner, in America, they put the PW camps out on the farms. And these German soldiers would get acquitted with the families. Then they do the work around their house. They do the stuff for the horses and that. And then they were welcome. They were good cooks.
Did you have many Marines in the European?
Who?
Were many Marines in your area?
Who?
Marines.
U.S. Marines?
Yeah.
No, there was no Marines there at all, no.
Where did all the Marines go?
In Pacific.
Wonder why. Why do they send all the Marines to the Pacific?
That's where we didn't want to go.
Why do you think?
That's a special unit. Marines are special units for Japan.
Why do you think they all sent the Marines? Were the Marines primarily always in the Pacific?
Yeah, I didn't see too many. In war in Europe, I didn't see no Marines at all. Well, most of the Marine bases were set up on the Pacific side.
Okay.
On the Pacific Ocean. They were over there right there.
Okay.
And they had units over there all the time.
That's interesting. So after the fighting stopped, where'd you go from there?
Occupation.
But when did you finally get, where did you get shipped to? Did you get shipped back to France?
No, we started cleaning up parts of Germany.
For how many months?
6 months.
Oh, okay.
We had a sort of who's living in what house and who is it.
So there were still,
Because a lot of Germans were hooked up with families, and the families took them in, and they were part of the family.
so there's still some type of fighting going on for 6 months,
Yeah.
but not necessarily with the German tanks.
No, they didn't have the armament. The armament is way up ahead, yeah.
What did Americans do with all the German tanks that were left over?
Well, they put them in a big, remember the pictures where they put their airplanes? On the big field, they're sitting there like a big dump. They put all the tanks and everything in a big field, let them rot.
Okay. I wonder where they are today.
Probably all rusted up, or if they're there, people go in and take everything out of them.
So you think there's
Steal the
still,
copper out and steal the iron.
you still think there's a shell of tanks sitting in Germany somewhere?
What?
You think it's still the shell of Nazi tanks sitting in Germany somewhere?
A Nazi tank?
Yeah, somewhere sitting empty, I mean stripped.
No, they had what 50, 60 years to clean them up. You don't see none of that stuff around.
It's done, yeah.
Like they did the airplanes. They put the airplanes in a big field and left them there, and they were rotted out. Remember that movie they had with his name in there? He went back to the planes, and they were all sitting in the field.
Yeah. That's amazing.
Yeah.
What they do with all the German weapons? All the weapons?
Me? I wouldn't dare touch a German weapon. A Luger or something, they kill you. If you got to be a prisoner, they shoot you in the head right off the bat.
Okay, so when the war was going on, if an American picked up a Luger that belonged to a German, the enemy, the Germans would shoot you right on the spot.
Yeah, I told the outfit I was in, I said, don't take any German weapons and stick them in your pocket, because the first thing you do is they're going to search you if you think you're captured, and they find a German thing in there, they'll shoot you right there.
Right on the spot.
Yeah, right in the head.
After the war was over, what happened to all the German weapons?
They were probably centralized someplace, and they were protected for 3 or 4 years, and then it died out.
Didn't you have a chrome souvenir knife from Germany?
I had that knife, yeah.
Where's that?
I got that knife in the desk. I had the medals and that. Somebody grabbed them. I don't know what
Oh,
happened.
how'd you get that knife?
That was that was a civilian
Oh, civilians.
in the house. Yeah,
You just happened to find it.
it was on the top of the drawer.
Imagine how old that knife was.
It was in good shape.
Yeah. Amazing.
But every time I went out in the line, I wouldn't take it with me.
Did many of the American soldiers, when the war was over, bring back souvenirs?
Oh well, the army major brought back a super speedboat.
How could he have done that?
Yeah,
Holy,
$35,000 speedboat he brought home.
holy wow. That's amazing.
Not through all the stop gaps and everything.
Amazing. How many minutes?
20.
Huh?
20.
Oh, boy. Wow.
Yeah, a lot of monkey stuff going on.
Yeah. Well, you want me to continue reading your book?
Yeah, sure, go ahead.
All right, here we go. We're picking up once again on chapter 5. John Jeckovich is in Owensboro.
Owensboro.
After the meal, we sat and talked and excused ourselves to go to freshen up as our custom. When we returned, we talked and as the waitress passed our table, I asked her for the check. She smiled and said it had been taken care of.
What was taken care of?
The check. Ann paid your check. Ann paid
Oh, when they went out to supper?
Yeah. The bluff area overlooked the Ohio River, a popular viewing spot of people would park their cars there and just sit and watch the lights of the moving traffic below. The lights from the city of Evansville. As we drove in the same area, it was relatively crowded. Ann was fortunate enough to find a spot between several large oak trees overlooking a good view of Evansville. The lights had gone on, and it was a wondrous sight to behold, especially because I was fortunate enough to have a desirable and exciting companion as Ann. We sat there looking at the scenery and watching the city lights twinkling below. The drivers applied their brakes as they came upon a sharp twist in the road. Just before they entered the bridge entrance, I suggested to Ann that we move closer to my side of the car and we could not have the steering wheel staring us in the face. She moved over and I put my arm around her shoulders and took her hand. She laid her head on my shoulder and whispered quietly, "What do you want to talk about?" The serenity of her demeanor was uncanny. Once again caught me off guard. I was a little bewildered and amazed that she could discern my inner thoughts so accurately. When I recovered sufficiently to give her an answer, I remarked, "Nothing in particular. I just like to listen to you." I then added, "There's a pretty good rumor going around that I'll be getting a 15-day furlough in the near future." That's a big furlough.
Yeah.
15 days. How'd you spend that furlough?
At home.
Did you come by and see Ann?
And I called her up, but I stayed home.
You went to your mother's house.
Yeah.
Was your mother happy to see you?
Oh, yeah. Stevie was gone, Lucky was gone, and Sally was young yet.
Does that mean that you're preparing to go overseas? She asked calmly. I felt a slight tremor in her hand as I was holding it. She then surprised me once again. "Do you want me to go home with you?" she asked. I did not know how to answer
Who was
her.
that?
Ann wanted to know if she wanted her to go to visit your mother when you had the 15-day furlough.
Oh, just a visit.
But Ann wanted to go with you on your 15-day furlough to see your mother.
No, I said, no, that's not, I haven't been home for 2 years, I'm gonna bring someone home with me.
I do not know how to answer her. She must have sensed my confusion and turned slightly to kiss me. In that moment, I regained my composure in a strong voice and said, "Do you want to go home with me?" She replied by prefacing her remarks, "I'm going to be perfectly candid with you." She then began, "I love you very much, and I'm positive that we'd be good for each other. We are very much alike in many ways, but apart in other ways. I think that's fine, since it makes for almost a perfect relationship. I like being with you and I enjoy your personality, and I miss you terribly when we are apart." She shifted her body around and continued, "It would be premature to think of an engagement or even a marriage."
Oh, that's wartime talk.
Yeah. "Your future is unclear in that you're going overseas shortly. As far as I'm concerned, I want to finish school as quickly as possible."
Say what?
She wants to finish school as quickly as possible. At this juncture, I asked, "Do you have another boyfriend?" She playfully slapped my wrist and told me to be quiet, that she was being serious. She went on, "I never had felt this way about anyone else. I like feeling it entails, and I want to continue with our being together as long as possible."
Yeah, that's wartime talk.
Wartime talk.
Wartime talk. Yeah.
I think he broke a lot of hearts.
Minutes?
14.
Well, anytime I had it passed, I was back at Oldsboro, yeah.
What'd your mother say when you came home for 15 days?
Well, she was glad to see me. I came in at 10 o'clock in the morning. There was nobody home. I knew where the key was in the milk box outside. I took the milk box outside. I just got off the bus and I was thirsty. And there was a bottle of orange juice in the refrigerator. So I drank all that up, and the first thing my mother said, "Did you drink all that orange juice?"
You can remember her saying that?
Huh?
You can remember your mother saying
And
that?
she was serious when she said it. I said, "Mom, please, I was thirsty." "Well, I'll give you some when I got home. You could wait." I said, "Well, I was on that damn bus too long."
And then how else did the day go?
I stayed home for 15 days.
But how did the day go, your first day home?
Well, she got over it. She said, "I'm glad you're home, but we got a lot of chores. I got a list out for you what you got to do."
Like, what were some of the things on the list?
Check the basement, underneath the basement. Check the wine cellar, the wine barrel. Check the fruit beds on the other side of the basement where she did all the canning, and I put those shelves up for her. In the summertime, she would be canning all the stuff that was. We picked them off the road from the farmers. And she canned it, then she put it in there. I checked all those shelves to get them all right. And I checked the coal. We had 10 ton of pea coal in the coal bin. So they didn't have any coal in the bin at all.
Nothing.
No.
Didn't you ask Horb to watch it for you?
Huh?
Didn't you ask Mr. Horb to watch it for you?
Hard to watch it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was your father's car, did you drive your father's car when you got there?
No, Stevie drove it all the time. I didn't drive the car. I wouldn't drive a Packard.
Was it,
I never would get in it.
was it left in the garage still?
It was left in the garage, yeah. And then Stevie got it when I went 5 years later. I went up in Pittsburgh to see him. He had a whole back seat of a car full of newspapers.
Wow. Why was he collecting newspapers?
He didn't want to put them out and tie them up.
That's amazing. That is truly amazing. So what'd you do on your 15-day furlough we just read about?
I hung around the house. Did the chores my mother wanted me to do, and that was it. I didn't have a girlfriend there or nothing.
Did you go out at all?
Well, I didn't have too many friends there. They're all either the ones I knew were in the service or were dead.
Was your brother's home?
No, Stevie was in school. He was home, but he was never home. He was drinking and he got drunk, all that nonsense.
Did he fight with you?
Yeah, he meant, sneering. What are you talking about?
Did your brother get in a lot of fist fights in the bar?
Looky?
Yeah.
No, he wouldn't get in a fight, no.
He wasn't a fighter then.
No. Coast Guard, he was in the Coast Guard. With the guy as far as Hawaii. He joined the Coast Guard.
Did Looky and Steve get along?
Looky and Steve? Yeah, surprisingly, they got along. Yeah, they got along pretty good.
Did the neighborhood look quite different when you got back?
Oh, yeah.
It was nice?
Well, not as bad as it looks now.
But how was it?
Original people are still there.
So how did the place look when you got back?
My house?
Yeah, your neighborhood. When you got
It looked neat because there were original people there. But
So-
10 years later, they all left and they got renters in there, owners, and they made a mess.
So on your 15-day furlough, everything looked nice.
Yeah.
Did you go to Hyde Park a lot?
Do I?
Did you go to Hyde Park a lot?
I went to Hyde Park every day for a shower.
How'd you get there?
Well, I took the Packard.
You drove it yourself?
Yeah.
Did you have to drive your mother around?
At that time, yeah.
Did you drive your sister around?
No, I think my sister had a car.
9.
Yeah, she had a car.
And did your sister was still going to school?
Yeah, she was still going to school, yeah. Well, she was a socialite. She had her and Pigler from Pigler's Dry Cleaner. The daughter they were buddies.
And your mother was working at Carbrundum? Your mother was working at Carbrundum?
At that time, I think she was working at Kresge's.
She worked at the counter, right?
Yeah.
Did she do made a lot of nice sandwiches, didn't she?
Oh, and my mother was a cook downstairs at the Kresge's, yeah.
When she came home from SS Kresge's, did she bring you some sandwiches?
Now, she didn't know my sandwiches, but I come home from school, I go in there. I went in there after school to do some work in the stock room, had till 8 o'clock till they closed. And he said, there's milk and stuff in the candy shop, don't make a mess.
What was the best sandwich that they made at SS Kresge's? Was it like hot dogs or grilled cheese, or what do they have?
No, it was salami, cheese on rye bread. You know, a whole bottle of milk.
When you got home for your 15-day leave, was Belinsky living next door?
I don't remember.
Do you remember when Belinsky moved in?
Who?
When Belinsky moved into the
I
neighborhood?
remember when they built the house. The house was empty. That lot was empty. We bought that lot for $2,400.
And do you remember when he first moved into it?
No.
But he was always a troublemaker, right?
Yeah, you hit my door, my side of my. I told David, Tom. I said, Tom, watch that 2x4 when you swing it. Don't hit that stupid aluminum siding he's got on. I just got out of my mouth. He says, Dad, he said, I think I hit that side. I said, well, I got to go over and tell him. You wrecked my house? And then my property went all the way down now. He said, you're going to pay for it.
It was that bad, huh?
Yeah, well, a little dent in the siding.
Wow.
The guy come in, took the piece out, cut it on both sides, put a new piece in, he didn't know the difference.
That was it.
Yeah. He made a big fuss about it.
Why?
That's the way he was.
Did you tell everyone at work you wrecked his house?
Huh?
Did you tell everyone at work that you wrecked his house?
Yeah. That was a big thing. He was on the second floor and I was on the first floor. He decided he wanted to come down on the first floor, so he takes the locker right next to me. Pain in the ass.
Oh, Lord.
And then a shift would go in the shower room. That's 6 guys off the shift.
Oh, yeah. Unbelievable.
Then he shake the socks out.
Well, all the sweat.
He wore them all day, took the socks off.
Oh, what an asshole.
Asshole, yeah.
What an
With that
ass.
Polak accent.
How would he sound?
Polak, because my mother and father said, look, we're English, we're going to talk English, we're not talking Polak. They talk Polak at home. He had an accent,
How would he sound? What did he sound like?
like a Polak.
Like what? Could you give me an example?
What?
What would be an example? How would
He said, John, what's the head, do you weigh me up, huh?
Oh, jeez. Is that how he sounded?
And he had an accent. But he's always so smart.
He did?
Yeah, he thought he was so smart.
Oh, boy.
Well, the 2 kids were musicians. They played in
Accordions.
restaurants and at night.
Polish Nook.
Yeah, Polish Nook, yeah.
Did you go to the Polish Nook?
Yeah, I took my mother went there once or twice. The food was good there.
It's still open.
Yeah.
What did you order at the Polish Nook?
Stuffed cabbage or roast beef or something.
How'd your mother like it?
Well, she lived with me all the time.
Did you ever order that famous sandwich that's in Western New York called beef on wick? Beef
Yeah,
on wick.
yeah.
Did you ever order that?
That wick was if the sandwich wasn't stale.
It was like a Kimmelweck roll,
Yeah.
hard roll with rock salt on it. Did you have that a lot?
I didn't have a lot because most of the time it was stale.
Oh, okay. Okay. Did you take your wife to the Polish Nook?
Did I send her there?
Did you take your wife to the Polish Nook?
Why would I send her to the Polish Nook?
Take her there for lunch.
Oh, did I take her there?
Yeah.
No, we didn't go. We went to the one in the mall. Chicken fillet.
How about when you went to the Polish Nook with your mother, did you order borscht?
Borscht?
Yeah, did you order that there?
No, my mother said don't order the borscht because the borscht is terrible here. Because she was making, it made it different.
Was that business really very busy there then, huh?
Oh yeah.
3 minutes?
What's that?
3 minutes.
It's a clock. It's the tape.
Oh,
tape.
the tape. Oh,
We have to keep an eye on
oh.
it. And where other restaurants did you go to there?
We went to one on Pine Island Road. Was that Como's?
The Como. How'd you like that?
Yeah, Como was good. Yeah, Como was good.
The Como was run by an Italian family for like 75 years. It's like the 5th or 6th generation now, and they realized it was a lot more work than they anticipated, so they closed the whole damn thing down.
And they sold it, huh?
Well, they're trying to sell it, but after, 5th or 6th generation said, this is too much work. That's a hard business. I remember the Como would have specialties that a lot of these people from Poland would like. People from Poland, even though the Como was an Italian restaurant, probably with some of the finest food, the Polish people would come in and order tripe.
Tripe, yeah.
Tripe, that was a big thing. They loved tripe.
Yeah.
They loved tripe.
There was another one too, I can't think of it. Brains.
Yeah. Brains, yeah.
Animal brains, yeah.
Yeah, they like that too. And how about the Crown and Anchor? Did you remember going there?
Where?
The Crown and Anchor.
Yeah, we were in there a couple
That's
of
where
times.
your sister's wedding reception was.
Yeah.
The Crown and Anchor.
Well, Brooklyn's wedding was at the air base.
Yeah. Yeah, I heard about that. The Crown and Anchor was right next to Pete's Texaco.
Yeah.
You were friends with Pete, Buck, and Phil. But
Yeah.
unfortunately, all those guys are pushing up daisies now.
Oh,
Pete, Buck, and Phil, they're long gone.
yeah. They were brothers.
Yeah, they work together. They work together good. And that's the only way they accomplish something, because those three brothers work together good, and they're able to buy gas stations, car washes,
Yeah.
apartments. They're smart people, because they were able to work together. They knew individually if they tried it, it wouldn't work. They knew individually if they tried it, it wouldn't work. Minutes?
45 seconds.
Okay. And then you did plowing for Pete, Buck, and Phil. You plowed their apartment, and I think you plowed their car wash for them. You did snow plowing for them,
Yeah.
and they were great people. They lived out in DeVoe, and they're nice people.
Their parents were nice people too.
They're all
They had
good.
a tourist home.
Yeah,
Not a tourist home. They had those cottages they had.
yeah, they were nice people. Just good old-fashioned, hard-working people.
5 seconds.
Yeah. Okay, we'll mark it.
We'll pick it up tomorrow.